Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into the world of glass engraving.
Oh, cool.
But we're not just talking about the how-to.
Right.
We're getting you ready for that interview, getting you prepped.
Nice.
So you sent over some amazing stuff, a really thorough career guide, a list of potential interview questions, and some info about this RoleCatcher AI, which honestly sounds like it's straight out of the future.
I know, it's really fascinating stuff.
It is.
Yeah, it's a fascinating field. It blends artistry and precision.
So, okay, first things first. Let's just paint a picture for our listener who might not be familiar with this. What does a glass engraver actually do? All day, I mean.
So it's more than just creating pretty designs.
Okay.
They're creating intricate lettering, those really beautiful ornamental flourishes that you see on like fancy glassware.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even working on high-profile pieces for like events or awards.
Oh, wow.
It's this blend of artistic vision and incredibly steady hands.
So they're like the calligraphers of the glass world.
Yep.
Okay. So that's super cool. But let's get into the nitty-gritty here because you sent over this great list of interview questions, and that's kind of the bulk of what we want to focus on today.
Yeah.
So the first one, and I think this is a classic, it's walk me through your experience with glass engraving.
It's broad.
It's so broad.
It is.
It's like, okay, where do I even begin?
But that's the point.
Yeah.
They're looking for proof that you understand this craft deeply,
Right.
whether it's formal training, being self-taught, or even just a genuine love for glass and design.
So how should our listener approach this? Because I feel like just listing out, like, oh, worked at this place and then I worked at that place is not going to cut it.
Exactly. You have to go deeper than that.
Yeah.
Think of a project that you're really, really proud of.
Okay.
Share the process. What were the technical challenges? What choices did you make? Maybe even what you learned from it.
I like that because that tells a story, right?
Yeah.
Versus just like, oh, here are the bullet points on my resume.
Yeah.
So, when they say walk me through, I feel like there are probably some sneaky follow-up questions lurking in there.
Absolutely.
Like, what should our listener be prepared for?
Well, they might ask about the most difficult part of that project.
Oh, yeah.
Or how you made sure the final piece matched the client's vision.
Okay.
This is where that prep work really pays off. You have to be ready to go deep on the details.
So walk me through really means be ready to really walk me through it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. This one sounds like they want someone who's really meticulous. How do you ensure the accuracy and precision of your engraving work?
Oh, yeah, they absolutely do.
Like, I'm already getting a little stressed out just reading this question.
But this is your chance to showcase your process.
Okay.
How do you double-check measurements? What tools give you that pinpoint control? Are there any specific techniques you use to avoid mistakes?
Yeah.
I mean, the more detail, the better here.
It's like they want to know you're obsessed with quality. You're not just kind of like winging it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you really take this seriously.
Absolutely.
Are there any tricky follow-ups here?
They might ask about the most valuable lesson you've learned about maintaining that precision,
Oh, interesting.
which is a really clever way to see if you're constantly learning and refining your skills.
Oh, yeah.
Or they might even ask about a time that you messed up and how you fixed it.
Ooh, yeah, because everyone makes mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes, yeah.
But it's what you do next, right?
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to a question that feels a little bit more creative. Can you describe your artistic style and approach to glass engraving?
Yeah.
This is not just about technical skill anymore.
This is where your personality shines through
Okay.
what makes your work unique.
Okay.
Are you inspired by vintage designs? Do you love minimalist lines? How do you work with clients to turn their ideas into something beautiful and engraved?
Yeah.
It's all about showing that creative vision.
So they're looking for that spark, I guess.
Yeah.
That unique thing that you bring to the table.
Wow.
Exactly. So any follow-up questions our listeners should anticipate?
They might ask for an example of a project where you had to adapt your style to meet a client's needs,
Okay.
which shows flexibility, which is key.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Huge, yeah.
Being able to adapt. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
This is a time management question, and I feel like this is one that everybody gets, no matter what job you're interviewing for.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, how do you manage your time and prioritize your workload when working on multiple projects at once?
It's a big one.
It is, and we're all juggling so many things these days. How do you prove that you do it well?
Yeah, this is all about your organizational superpowers.
Okay.
How do you break down big projects?
Yeah.
How do you set realistic deadlines?
Okay.
And how do you keep everyone informed, especially if things change? They want to see that you're not just a talented artist,
Right.
but also a reliable professional.
It's that blend of creativity and practicality.
Exactly.
Which is hard, by the way.
It's hard.
For a lot of us.
It is.
Okay, so what about those follow-up questions that people might not be anticipating that might kind of trip them up?
So think about how you handle unexpected delays.
Oh, yeah.
Or changes in project scope.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility is key in this field.
So important. Yeah.
They might even ask about a time where you had to reprioritize everything.
Ooh.
How did you make those tough choices?
Okay, so being able to adapt on the fly.
Yes, very important.
Okay, speaking of challenges, this next question, I feel like it's a little bit of a curveball.
Okay.
It's, can you discuss a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem with a glass engraving project?
Mistakes happen.
They do.
Everyone makes them.
Yep.
They're looking for how you handle them.
Okay.
Pick a specific story.
Okay.
Where something went wrong.
Okay.
But you stayed calm. You thought critically.
Yeah.
And you found a solution.
So it's not about pretending you're perfect.
Yep.
It's about owning your process and showing that you learned from those, like, tough spots.
Exactly.
Any follow-ups here?
Yeah, they might ask what you learned from that experience.
Okay.
Which shows you're constantly growing. Or they might ask how you prevent similar issues in the future.
Yeah.
Proving you've got systems in place.
Okay, so onto a question that I think is all about staying current. And this feels like a little bit of a trick question because there's always something new. So it's, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and techniques in glass engraving?
It's a fast-moving field. It really is.
Yeah.
But that's also what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So mention conferences that you attend, workshops you've taken, even online communities where you connect with other artists.
Okay.
Show them you're a lifelong learner, always pushing your boundaries.
So it's proving that you're passionate enough to invest in your own growth.
Yes.
Any potential follow-ups our listeners should be ready for?
Yeah, they might ask about a specific new technique you've learned recently and how you've used it.
Oh, yeah.
Or they might even ask about what emerging trends excite you most.
Ooh, I like that.
Which is a chance to show your enthusiasm and where you see the field heading.
Yeah, I like that. It's a little bit future-focused.
Yeah.
Okay, on to a question that I think can be really tough for creative folks because it's not just about the art. It's, can you discuss a time when you had to work with a difficult client or project?
Diplomacy is key here.
Okay.
Describe a situation where things got tricky, but you stayed professional, you focused on communication, and ultimately found a solution that worked for everyone.
So it's about showing that you can navigate those interpersonal challenges without letting the project completely derail.
Right.
What kind of follow-up questions might come up?
Well, they might ask about your specific strategies for building rapport with clients, even when there are disagreements.
Yeah.
Or they might even ask how you handle constructive criticism.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because no one's perfect.
No, we're not.
Being open to feedback shows that you're mature and always looking to improve.
That's a great point. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, collaboration time. How do you approach collaboration with other artists or designers on a glass engraving project?
Yeah, especially with those larger pieces, this is crucial.
Oh, yeah, totally.
They're looking for someone who can be part of a team.
Okay.
Not just a solo act. How do you communicate your ideas clearly? How do you respect different artistic visions?
Right.
And how do you integrate feedback into the final product?
So it's all about showing that you can play well with others in that
Yes.
creative sandbox.
Exactly.
Any tricky follow-ups lurking here?
Oh, for sure. They might ask about a specific collaborative project and what your unique contributions were.
Okay.
Or they might ask about a time when you had to compromise.
Ooh, compromise. The word every artist loves.
Right. Yeah, not really.
Okay. On to a question that I think gets at your problem-solving skills. Can you discuss a time when you had to innovate or create a new technique to achieve a specific design or effect?
Yes.
This is where you get to show off your MacGyver side, I think.
Exactly. This is your chance to shine.
Okay.
Think of a time when you faced a unique challenge and the usual techniques just wouldn't cut it.
Okay.
What did you do it? What was your thought process? And how did it impact the final piece?
So they're looking for that blend of creative thinking and technical skill.
Yes,
Absolutely. Follow-up questions here.
They might ask about how you came up with that solution.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
Okay.
Or they might ask about a time when your innovation didn't work out.
Ooh, interesting.
Showing that you're not afraid to experiment
Yeah.
and learn from those failures.
Because sometimes the best learning comes from those, like, moments.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about the career guides you sent over. It's packed with, like, amazing insights.
Yes.
Especially for someone new to the field.
Yeah.
One thing that really stood out to me was how it highlights apprenticeships and internships as, like, fantastic ways to get experience. Why are those so crucial for aspiring glass engravers?
It's all about that hands-on learning.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. You're working alongside seasoned masters,
Right.
learning their tricks of the trade, maybe even getting exposed to their network of clients.
Oh, yeah.
It's an invaluable way to build both your skills and your connections.
So it's not just about the technical skill, it's understanding, like, the whole ecosystem of the glass engraving world.
Exactly.
And speaking of career paths, the guide also mentions, options beyond just working for someone else,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
So, you could climb the ladder within a company.
Right.
Maybe becoming like a lead engraver.
Yep.
Or a studio manager.
Yeah.
Or you could strike out on your own, which is scary, but also really exciting.
Very exciting.
Setting up your own shop, creating your own designs, building your own brand.
Yeah. I love that.
It shows there's room for both ambition and, like, entrepreneurial spirit in this field.
Absolutely.
But with all those options, it's like, oh my gosh, where do I even begin?
It can be overwhelming.
That's where I think this RoleCatcher AI comes in.
Yeah.
You sent some info on this, and it's really cool how it can help you tailor your approach.
It is.
So imagine this. You upload your resume and a job description, and RoleCatcher, like, analyzes both to highlight the key skills that this specific employer is looking for.
Yeah.
It's like having a career coach who knows exactly what they want to see.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
Takes all the guesswork out
Yeah.
of trying to figure out, like, what should I be highlighting?
Yeah.
So you're not just throwing things at the wall and hoping something sticks. What else can RoleCatcher do? Because I feel like that's just, like, the tip of the iceberg.
There's so much.
Yeah.
It can even help you fine-tune your answers to those interview questions we were just talking about.
no.
I know. Seriously. So you practice your response. RoleCatcher analyzes it.
Okay.
And it gives you feedback on your clarity,
Wow.
your tone, even your body language if you're doing a video call.
That's next level.
I know.
Okay, that is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's like having a secret weapon. Your interview prep.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm, like, officially blown away by this.
Amazing.
Okay, so back to that career guide. I want to talk about, like, the different stages that a glass engraver might go through, because I feel like the guide breaks it down really clearly.
Yeah.
Starting with, like, that entry-level role.
Right. At that stage, you're really focused on building those foundational skills.
Okay.
You might be assisting more experienced engravers, prepping the glass, learning the basic techniques under their guidance.
Yeah. Taking care of the tools and equipment.
So it's like any craft. You got to pay your dues.
You do. You have to learn from the masters.
Yeah, and learn from the people who've been doing it. Okay, so what about that next step up, that junior glass engraver role? What does that look like?
That's where you start to spread your wings a bit.
Oh.
You'll be tackling simpler lettering and designs on your own.
Oh, cool.
Collaborating with senior engravers on those more intricate pieces. Really honing your artistic style.
So it's that sweet spot between learning and doing.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does the guide say about that next level, the experienced glass engraver?
This is where you really hit your stride.
Okay.
You're confidently engraving those complex designs, maybe even mentoring those junior engravers coming up behind you.
Oh, that's nice.
You're collaborating directly with clients.
Yeah.
Understanding their vision and turning it into a reality. Etched in glass, it's a very rewarding stage. Yeah, it sounds like the perfect blend of artistry and leadership.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then what does it take to reach, like, that pinnacle, that senior glass engraver level?
At this stage, you're not just an artist, you're a leader.
Okay.
You're a visionary. You might be supervising teams of engravers.
Wow.
Leading those complex projects, maybe even doing research into new techniques or materials. You're pushing the boundaries of the craft.
That's amazing.
Inspiring the next generation.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see how much growth is possible.
It is, yeah.
In this field, Okay, I think we've covered a ton of ground here. In part one, We've explored what a glass engraver does,
Yeah.
tackled some of those tricky interview questions,
Right.
and even gotten a glimpse into how this RoleCatcher AI can give you a serious advantage in the job search.
We have, yeah. And it's important to remember confidence and preparation are key.
Yeah.
Embrace your passion, showcase your talents, and you'll be well on your way to a successful career.
Absolutely. We'll be back in part 2 to dive even deeper into those interview questions and share some more insights from that amazing career guide. Stay tuned.
You know, it's amazing how just a single piece of glass can become a canvas for such intricate detail.
Right. It's like they're painting with light and shadows, but on a much more delicate surface.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for some more interview practice?
Let's get to it.
All right. So we've got a few more questions to tackle, and these get a little bit more, I don't know, personal maybe.
Okay.
It's like they're trying to get to know how you handle those tricky situations.
Right.
So this one is, can you discuss a time when you had to work with a difficult client or project?
Ooh, yeah, everyone's been there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But how do you turn this into a positive during an interview?
Yeah, exactly, because you don't want to be like, oh, this client was a nightmare.
You want to show your professionalism,
Right.
problem-solving skills.
Okay.
Pick a specific situation where a client maybe had unrealistic expectations or the project hit unexpected roadblocks.
Okay.
How did you handle the communication?
Right.
What steps did you take to find a solution?
So it's not about bad-mouthing the client
No.
or like complaining about the project. It's about showing that you stayed calm
Right.
under pressure
Yes.
and found a way forward.
Exactly. Focus on the actions you took,
Okay.
the compromises you made, and the positive outcome you achieved.
Okay. I like that.
And be prepared for those follow-up questions.
Oh, I bet. Like, what kind of follow-ups might they throw your way after that?
They might ask about your specific strategies for building rapport
Okay.
with clients,
Mm.
even when there are disagreements.
Well, that's a good one.
Or they might ask how you handle constructive criticism,
Oh.
because nobody's perfect.
Right. Yeah.
Being open to feedback shows that you're mature
Yeah.
and always looking to improve.
That's a great point. Okay, so next question is all about teamwork. How do you approach collaboration with other artists or designers on a glass engraving project?
Yeah, especially for those large installations, this is super crucial.
It's got to be.
You got to be able to work as a team.
Yeah.
This is your chance to showcase that ability.
Okay.
Talk about your communication style, how you brainstorm ideas, and how you integrate different artistic visions into a cohesive final product.
So it's like being a good communicator, respecting other people's ideas,
Yes,
being willing to compromise when needed.
absolutely.
Any tips for like really answering this one effectively?
Share a specific example.
Okay.
A story about a successful collaboration where you played a key role will bring your answer to life.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and be ready for those follow-up questions.
Like what might they ask to kind of dig a little deeper?
They might ask about challenges you faced in that collaboration.
Oh, okay.
How you overcame them and what you learned from the experience.
Oh.
Or they might ask about a time when you had to compromise your own artistic vision
Ooh, that's always a tough one.
for the sake of the project.
Yeah.
But those are always interesting stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, last question in this set is, can you discuss a time when you had to innovate or create a new technique to achieve a specific design or effect?
Love it.
This is where you get to, like, brag a little, I feel like.
A little bit, but remember, it's not just about showing off.
Okay.
It's about demonstrating your problem-solving skills and your willingness to think outside the box.
So, like, that creative problem-solving aspect.
Yep, exactly. Pick a situation where the standard techniques just wouldn't work.
Right.
And you had to come up with something new.
So they're looking for that spark of ingenuity, that moment where you go from, this isn't working, to, aha, I got it.
Yes.
And hopefully you don't pull out too many hairs in the process.
Hopefully not.
Okay, so explain your thought process, the steps you took, and how your innovation ultimately solved that problem.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to talk about the challenges you faced along the way.
Right, because I feel like even the best ideas sometimes need a little tweaking.
They do, yeah.
Before you, like, perfect them.
Yeah.
What kind of follow-ups should our listener be ready for on this one?
Okay, they might ask about your sources of inspiration.
Okay.
Where do you get those aha moments?
Yeah.
Or they might ask about a time when your innovation didn't work out as planned.
Interesting.
Being able to talk about those failures
Right.
shows that you're willing to experiment and learn from your mistakes.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best learning comes from those oops moments.
Exactly.
All right, before we move on to more interview prep, I want to circle back to that career guide you shared.
Okay.
Because it talks about the importance of, like, staying up to date with the latest trends in glass engraving.
Yeah, it's a dynamic field.
It is. It's constantly evolving.
Constantly.
You know, new techniques, new tools, new materials, always emerging.
And
So how does a glass engraver, like, keep their skills sharp and avoid falling behind? Because it feels like a constant learning curve.
it is a constant learning curve.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps things exciting.
Yeah, I bet.
The guide mentions attending conferences and workshops,
Okay.
subscribing to industry publications, even being part of online communities
Well, it's nice.
where engravers share their knowledge and inspiration.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's like being a lifelong learner,
Yeah.
being curious,
Mm-hmm.
being part of that larger conversation about the craft.
Exactly.
Speaking of learning, the guide also delves into some of the realities of the glass and crystal industry.
Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from the fact that it can be a pretty competitive field.
Right.
So how does a glass engraver, like, stand out from the crowd?
Yeah, especially in a market that's maybe a little saturated.
Right.
The guide emphasizes the importance of developing a unique style,
Okay.
creating high-quality work
Yeah.
that showcases your skills, and building a strong portfolio that highlights your best pieces.
So it's like any creative field. You need to kind of find your niche, hone your craft, and, like, market yourself effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the guide also mentions networking, I think, too, which is so important.
Yes, it is.
Attending industry events.
Yeah.
Connecting with other artists and designers.
Yeah.
Maybe even reaching out to potential mentors.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about kind of building those relationships and getting your name out there.
It is, yeah.
It's not just what you know, it's who you know,
It's true.
which can be hard for some people, but...
It can be.
Okay, so let's talk about another tool that I think can be a game changer for anyone navigating the job market right now.
Yeah.
And that is RoleCatcher's AI.
Yes.
You mentioned that it can, like, analyze job descriptions
Right.
to kind of pinpoint those key skills that employers are looking for.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. Imagine this. You upload a job description
Okay.
for a glass engraver position,
Mm-hmm.
and RoleCatcher's AI, like, scans it and highlights the specific experience, techniques, even soft skills that this particular employer values.
It's like having a personal headhunter
Yeah, it is.
who knows exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it goes a step further.
Wow.
It analyzes your resume,
Wow.
looking for those matching skills and experiences,
Okay.
and suggests how you can tweak your wording
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that those keywords pop.
That's brilliant.
Right.
It takes all the guesswork out of tailoring your resume to
Yeah.
a specific job.
Because that can be so time-consuming.
It really can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could even, like, suggest specific projects or experiences from your past that you should highlight to
Oh.
really, like, grab their attention.
That's so valuable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like having a secret weapon
It is.
for making your resume stand out from the stack.
Totally. Totally.
Okay, that is so cool. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, so shifting gears back to those interview questions. You know, we've talked about, like, how to handle those tricky situations.
Right.
How to showcase your collaborative skills.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those times when things go wrong?
Oh, yeah. The oops moments.
You mean, like, you're in the middle of a project and suddenly it's all going sideways?
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah, and interviewers love to ask about this.
They do.
Yeah, they might phrase it something like, can you tell me about a time you made a mistake on a project? What did you do?
So they're not looking for someone who claims to be perfect,
No.
because nobody is.
No.
They want to see how you handle those inevitable setbacks.
They do. Yeah, this is your chance to show that you can learn from your mistakes.
Okay.
That you're resilient, that you have a process for course correcting when things go wrong.
Okay, so how should our listener approach this question? Should they pick, like, a minor mishap or, like, a major disaster?
Choose a situation that was challenging,
Okay.
but ultimately had a positive resolution.
Okay.
It could be a technical error you made during the engraving process,
Okay.
miscommunication with a client, even a time when you underestimated the scope of a project.
So something that, like, had the potential to be a real problem,
Yeah,
but you found a way to turn it around.
exactly. And when you're answering this question, first, own the mistake.
Okay.
Don't try to downplay it or
Great.
shift the blame.
Yeah.
briefly explain what happened and why it was a problem.
Okay.
But then focus on the actions you took to rectify the situation.
Okay.
Did you reach out for help? Did you come up with a creative solution? Did you go above and beyond to make things right with the client?
So it's about showing that you're accountable,
Yes.
proactive, solution-oriented.
Yes. And finally, talk about what you learned from the experience.
Okay, yeah.
Did it change your approach to certain techniques,
Yeah.
improve your communication skills, make you more meticulous in your planning?
So it's turning that oops moment into a valuable learning experience.
Exactly, because even mistakes can be stepping stones on the path to becoming a better glass engraver.
That's such a great takeaway. I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we wrap up part 2, I want to touch on one more thing that struck me from that career guide.
Okay.
It's the work environment for glass engravers.
Yeah, it's something to consider.
It is, because the guide mentions that glass engravers typically work in studios or workshops,
Right.
which I imagine can range from like small independent spaces
Yes.
to larger, more industrial settings.
Absolutely.
But the work itself can be quite physically demanding, right?
It can, yeah.
You're often standing for long periods, using hand tools that require a lot of precision and control,
Right.
and sometimes working with like heavy or delicate pieces of glass.
Absolutely.
So it's not a desk job.
It's not.
You need to be comfortable working with your hands,
Yeah.
being on your feet, maybe even doing a little heavy lifting now and then.
A little bit, yeah.
The guide also emphasizes the importance of safety in the workshop.
Yes. Very important.
Makes sense. I mean, what kind of safety hazards should a glass engraver be aware of?
Well, you're working with sharp tools.
Right.
And potentially abrasive materials.
Yeah.
So cuts and scrapes are always a risk.
Okay.
There's also the potential for eye injuries from flying glass particles.
Oh, yeah.
So wearing protective eyewear is essential.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So being mindful of those safety protocols.
Yes.
Maintaining a clean and organized workspace, crucial.
Super important.
Don't forget about the noise factor.
Oh, yeah.
Some of those tools using glass engraving can be quite loud, so hearing protection is important too.
Absolutely.
This is all great info to keep in mind, as you're exploring this career path.
Yeah.
It's not just about the artistic side.
It's not.
You got to think about those physical demands and the safety considerations as well.
Absolutely.
It's also important to be comfortable with the sometimes solitary nature of the work.
That's true.
Solitary. But we were just talking about collaboration.
We were.
How does that work?
But many glass engravers spend a significant amount of time working alone,
Okay.
focused on their craft. It requires patience, concentration,
Okay.
and the ability to find satisfaction in the process itself.
So it's not a career for someone who craves like constant social interaction.
Maybe not.
Yeah. You need to be comfortable with those kind of quiet moments of focused creation.
Absolutely. And that's something to consider when you're deciding if this career is right for you.
Yeah, totally. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in part 2.
I think so too.
We tackled those like tough interview questions about handling difficult situations,
Yes.
collaborating with others, learning from your mistakes. We delved into the importance of, staying up to date
Yes.
with the latest trends, the realities of the work environment.
Absolutely.
And we even explored how RoleCatcher's AI
Yes.
can help you tailor your resume and stand out from the competition.
It can, yeah.
It's been a jam-packed episode so far. It has. But there's still more to come.
Oh, yeah.
In part 3, we'll kind of wrap up our interview prep
Okay.
with some final tips and insights.
All right.
And we'll dive even deeper into the career path of a glass engraver.
Great.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're wrapping up our glass engraving interview prep, and I gotta say, I'm already feeling like I could go out there and crush it, just from everything we've talked about so far.
I know. It's amazing how much goes into it.
Right. It's not just like knowing the technical skills.
Yeah, no.
It's about, showcasing your personality,
Yeah.
your problem-solving skills,
Yeah.
even your ability to kind of handle those oops moments with grace,
Yeah.
So, okay, before we jump into that final stretch, I want to touch on one more thing that stood out to me in that career guide you shared.
Okay.
It's the evolution of technology in glass engraving.
Yeah, that's a fascinating one.
Right. The guide talks about how computer-aided design, or CAD, is like changing the game.
Oh, it is. It's a big one.
So can you tell us more about that? Like, how is CAD impacting the field? Because I imagine it's a pretty big shift from those traditional hand engraving techniques.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Traditionally, glass engravers would have to sketch their designs directly onto the glass.
Okay.
But with CAD software, they can create those like intricate patterns and lettering digitally.
So it's like having a digital drafting board, but for glass.
Exactly.
Okay, that's super cool.
And then these designs can be transferred to the glass using laser engraving technology,
Okay.
which is incredibly precise and efficient.
Wow. So that sounds like it opens up a whole new world of possibilities in terms of like the level of detail and complexity that you can achieve.
It does.
But I also imagine it raises some interesting questions about, the future of hand engraving.
It does, yeah.
So does that mean like those traditional skills are becoming obsolete?
I wouldn't say obsolete.
Yeah.
Hand engraving still holds a very special place in the world of glass art. It's a very personal and expressive form of craftsmanship that many people still value.
So it's about kind of finding the right balance
Yeah.
between tradition and technology.
Exactly. And some glass engravers, embrace both.
Yeah.
They use CAD for certain projects
Okay.
and hand engraving for others, depending on, the desired aesthetic,
Right.
the client's preferences.
Yeah. So it's about having kind of a diverse skill set,
Absolutely.
being able to adapt to different situations.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So back to those interview questions.
Right.
Yeah, we've covered a lot, but are there any other curveballs our listeners should be prepared for?
I think a question that comes up often is about salary expectations.
Oh, yeah.
Interviewers want to know if you're realistic about your worth
Okay.
and if your expectations align with their budget.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
It is.
It's like that delicate dance between like knowing your value, but not pricing yourself out of the running.
Exactly. Do your research beforehand.
Yep.
Look at industry averages for similar roles in your area.
Mm-hmm.
Consider your level of experience, your unique skill set,
Yeah.
and then come up with a range
Okay.
you're comfortable with.
So it's about being prepared,
Yes.
being confident,
Yes.
being open to negotiation.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to ask about their salary range as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
A two-way street.
It is. It shows that you're like serious about the opportunity.
Yeah.
And that you're looking for like a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Exactly.
Okay, so another question you might encounter is about your long-term career goals.
Ah, yeah.
Interviewers want to know, are you seeing yourself growing with the company?
Yeah.
Or are you just kind of like looking for a stepping stone?
Exactly. Are you committed?
Right. Are you committed?
Yeah.
What are your ambitions?
This is your chance to talk about your aspirations.
Okay.
Maybe it's mastering a specific technique,
Yeah.
leading a team of engravers, or even starting your own studio someday.
Right. It's painting a picture of your future self.
Yeah.
And showing them that you're like driven and passionate
Exactly.
about what you do.
And even if you're not sure
Yeah.
about your long-term plans,
Mm.
be honest about that.
Okay.
Say something like, I'm excited to learn and grow within this role, and I'm open to exploring different opportunities as they arise.
Yeah, I like that. It shows that you're like adaptable and eager to learn, which are always valuable qualities.
Absolutely.
In any job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one final piece of advice that I always give to anyone who's prepping for an interview
Okay.
is have some questions prepared to ask the interviewer.
That's so important.
It is. It's so important to show that you're curious and engaged.
Exactly. It's not just about them grilling you. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
Ask about the company culture,
Okay.
the team you'd be working with, or even specific projects you'd be involved in.
It shows that you've done your homework. You're thinking critically about the opportunity.
Yes.
You're genuinely interested in learning more.
It is a chance to get a better sense of if it's the right fit for you.
Oh, that's such a good point. It's not just about like impressing them.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out if this is a place where you can thrive and contribute your
Yeah.
unique talents.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we've covered just about everything you need to know
I think we have to.
ace that glass engraving interview.
I hope so.
From those tricky questions about, difficult clients to the impact of CAD technology.
Yeah.
I feel like we've really kind of explored it all.
We have.
And we even uncovered how this RoleCatcher AI can be, like your secret weapon in the job search process.
It really can.
It's been a deep dive indeed.
It has.
Okay, but before we wrap up this whole episode,
Okay.
I want to leave our listener with kind of a final thought-provoking question to ponder.
All right. I love it. I love it.
So we've talked a lot about like the technical skills,
Right.
the artistic vision, the professional demeanor that you need to succeed as a glass engraver.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what about the emotional connection?
Oh, yeah.
What is it like to transform this like simple piece of glass into a work of art?
Yeah.
What emotions do you experience during that creative process? And what do you hope to evoke in the people who see your work?
Those are great questions.
Right. It's something to reflect on, I
It
think,
is.
as you kind of embark on your journey to the world of glass engraving.
It's about finding your own unique voice,
Yeah,
expressing your creativity
absolutely.
through this beautiful and intricate craft.
So on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into the world of glass engraving. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit magical.
A little bit.
Best of luck with that interview. We're rooting for you.
We are?
And until next time, keep diving deep into the things that spark your curiosity.